Welcome back to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics podcast. Today we have on one of our favorite people on the planet, Miss Mindy Cohn. Not only is she an incredible actress, but she is also the special co-host of our October 8th event in Nashville. I know, right? It's coming up at the Graduate Hotel.
I'm so excited.
Conversations with Prime Women. So welcome back to the show, Mindy.
Thank you. And you are so sweet to call me a co-host when you two have just done all the work and all of your just amazing people who are there with you in Nashville, just working their heinies off to make this the success that, I think we all know it's going to be, but I'm very excited.
Well, we're thrilled. Well, you gave us the inspiration. Like when we went and had coffee with you in California, and you really, that was the inspiration right there.
She was just like,
so
you have to
you
do
are
it.
The inspiration. Yes. Just
I love
like
that
the song that Chicago sang, you are the inspiration.
You want to sing it?
No, I don't.
Oh my God, Bridge, please do.
And that's kind of the first question I had. You have always been saying to us, you need to do an event for women of our demographic. They want to be inspired. It's not just one topic. Women want to feel connected. Why did you feel so strongly that we should do this?
Well, I think what's the biggest thing that's missing, we talk about, the aging or not aging, which is like an oxymoron, like how are we going to stop aging, first of all? But I think the biggest sense of what's missing for our demographic is community. I think some of the children are up and gone or about ready to be up and gone. I think all of our relationships at this age tend to change, and the biggest and most strongest relationship with ourselves. And I just think what's missing is community. And I don't mean people to talk about the health stuff with, or the emotional stuff, or the psychological, all of it. Sometimes we talk about getting partners in life, or best friends, so we can share the load physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And I think that's very true. I think what is missing from that conversation is that community of women when we get to be our age and beyond. And I think it is the longevity factor that is not talked about. I think when we talk about not only health, physical and mental, but we always talk about travel, food, sense of purpose, sense of place. We always need to talk to and with people about that. And it is what's missing, right? We get out of school. Well, most of us are either unemployed, or we have tapped and created a new sense of employment. And there's not that group of people we see every day. And so it's up to us to create that. So now it's up to y'all.
Yeah. So with employment, how is everything going right now? I know, with the strike, with the SAG, the Actors Guild, I've seen you on social media out on the picket lines, which I'm, supporting you, because I know everybody involved in that works so hard.
Well, I think you said something, Bridge, so interesting that is a misnomer, but I think it's so important, is I think sometimes people look at SAG-AFTRA as a guild, and it isn't. We are a labor union. And unfortunately, with social media, I've tried not to be like, hey, fam, on the picket line, because other labor unions, when they go on strike, do not do that. I think it's really important to get that message out that we are indeed a labor union. We work for the man. And what we're asking for are things that other unions would ask for. Unfortunately, it's cloaked in this sense of like, actor, famous stars, people think of all these salaries, and that's not really the journeyman of most actors, right? That we are basically making the same wages we made 20 years ago, less residuals. So it's not a living wage anymore. So identify with a lot of the teachers, right, who have to go into their own pockets or get second jobs. And so I think sometimes that message is missing. What I can say is Los Angeles specifically, the mayor said something 2 weeks ago about the city of LA. This is not the county. The city is losing $30 million a day with this strike. It affects, you name it, cleaning people, security people, dry cleaners, caterers, restaurants, you name it, it's affected. And so with all that's going on, not only with the strike and unemployment, but also just coming out of COVID, It's a real thing. And, the studios who've gone through this with us a couple of times, but most, recently, which isn't recent, 20 years ago, these other companies, these streamers are really the ones that are holding out, because unlike the studios that always had a creative component to them, their business, but there was a creative component. With the streamers, there isn't a creative team. It's run, they answer to their stockholders, and it's bottom line. And you're asking someone who makes, and I'm pulling the figure out of my tushy, $500 million a year. Well, listen, we're going to share 50 million. So our bottom line is going to be 450. No company is going to say, yes, let's lose some money next year. You bet, out of fairness. Companies don't work that way. So there has to be some kind of shift. There will be, but it's such a bummer.
It is. And I just know, I have a son that's 30 years old living in Los Angeles that just trying whatever he can. I mean, he's done background acting and everything. And just, it's to see people that, have been really successful in their acting career come out there and support the people who are just trying to get started, that are doing what they can to just try to make it in this environment.
And Bridge, I mean, you all know the kind of year I had last year. Now, that kind of year any other time would set me up for the next 2 or 3 years.
Right.
I did not even make my yearly nut last year with those 3 big jobs that I got. That's the difference. That's
people don't realize
that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's the
I think everyone thinks when they see actors, they think of the Ben Afflecks and the J-Los and the Tom Hanks and all the ones who are, Tom Cruise. They don't realize that actors are if you're a working actor, it's an everyday thing that you're looking for jobs. You're just happy to be on set.
And also it's that 1% of those people who make those crazy, fabulous salaries on series television. That's 0.01% of working actors. The rest of us that earn our living as actors, and by the way, most people in our union do not, but those of us that do, that pay scale has not gone with the times. I mean, even the minimal, dismal increases of minimum wage, right? Governmental, and we haven't even gotten those in decades. So, that's the stuff that's not talked about. Look, it's not glamorous. It's, people have been shied away. It used to be sex. Now it's money. Like, we poo-poo, we don't talk about it. It's a dirty subject. But at some point, people really have to understand that, you kind of need to pay for what you're getting.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking about that, because I don't think people too realize how much time you spend on a set, how much goes on a set and what's involved. And it's hard work. I mean, it is hard work. Yeah. So,
yes. Well, love it, but it's hard.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Right. And have you seen any kind of movement now that it's been a couple months? Have you seen any forward movement with so you haven't seen any forward momentum in sitting down?
No, there's no interest. As I said, the studios, even those studios that have streamers, are willing to come to the table because they understand what's going on. But unfortunately, what the ATMP, used to work as a united body, even though there's competition, the studios would really work together. Well, now they don't. They Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Apple are all seeing each other as competitors, not as some big community. So there's no real desire to sit down with each other and get it going. It will happen. It's going to be a few months. Everyone, optimists say January. I tend to be in that category. I want it to be different. We just have to not only sit down at the table, but just be ready to sort of like deal with the dirty, so I'm ever hopeful. It will get sorted. It will.
Well, good. Well, in the meantime, you'll be able to come visit us.
Yes.
In Nashville.
Yes.
and have some fun at the event. When we told you that we had Trafalgar Tours being one of our sponsors, I've never seen your eyes just light up. What does travel mean?
It is my love language, Colleen.
I was going to say, what does travel mean to you at this stage of life?
It has truly become almost everything for me. that sense of feeling like we were talking about a bigger community, going out and experiencing the world in a way that I couldn't and didn't in my 20s and 30s and even 40s. It's my curiosity, my interest. It is such, to me, the gasoline and ignition we all need to sort of get our creative juices flowing and be plugged into the world in a way that isn't bad news or worrisome or anxiety provoking. It's absolutely the opposite. I find travel to be so life affirming. And I was one of those people that was just waiting, you know, for my prince to come and take me, for my gaggle of girls to get their blink together to organize a trip. And finally, it was just like, you know what? I really started putting it in my power and just saying, I want to do this trip. Is there someone who wants to go with me? Great. If not, I'm going on my own. 10 times out of 10, I have found a delightful travel companions in either my best friends or sometimes almost a virtual stranger that just wants to go to the same place I do. I find I'm less persnickety about travel. I'm more willing to be adventurous. I'm more willing to get out of my comfort zone, because we've all been outside of our comfort zones in this age in every way, shape, and form. So we're used to that. And so to me, I feel like travel is still the best kept secret from women our age, truly. I feel like people who are either, I think, mostly too scared to go or feel they financially can't do it, don't know the real facts. So I want to be that messenger.
Yeah, it's great. Like, just like you said, like when I'm from a family of 12 kids. I didn't go anywhere when I was little or younger, but now I'm able to, and it has been fantastic.
It's one of those
Right.
privileges we get as we get older that women don't really take advantage of like they should.
Yes, and I think that, again, people think it's so cost prohibitive when they see all these airfares, but there's companies like Trafalgar who make it not only so doable, but you're not going to break your bank. You're not going, and you're going to be able, seriously, to me, my one big trip a year, and then I try and do a couple little ones, but are literally, it's what I live for. It's where it's what, you know, propels me forward. I can't wait till I can go blank, blank, blank. I just think if we empower women to just give it a go and dip the toe in, they're going to be, people just are shocked how much fun they have and how additive it is to your life to just go travel. And it doesn't have to be some crazy place, you know, start small, start local. And then go out, right? I wanted to ask you, Bridge, how was your trip? I saw on Instagram.
Oh, when we went to Scotland and British Isles, it was fantastic. It
looked amazing.
I'd never been to that area, and the funny thing was my husband's grandmother's from Scotland. And so we were trying to find out about his family history, and we found out they were terrible people. His grandmother's last name was Donald. And we're like, so Donald, what about the Donald? Oh, they're from the MacDonald group. And then we go to a castle and it's like, and the MacDonald group came and they pillaged and plundered and did all this. And we're like, oh no.
Like, never mind, just don't use the name.
We were wanting to buy Donald Tartan for our kids. And we're like, oh, maybe not. But it was,
never mind.
Like you said, just to see the part of that world, it was just amazing. So it's just been great, you know, and I want to do so much more. So little time, but I'm going to do more.
Trafalgar,
yes.
Help us with
that. Well, and I also feel like Women's Expo somewhere. I'm already doing a business plan to present to them about, like,
follow your lead.
Were you in Ireland? You were in Ireland, weren't you, as well? Yeah,
I was. That had been on my bucket list, and finally, I got to go again with friends of mine who I had only traveled once with. We just had a blast, and yes, I hadn't traveled since COVID, so it was. Oh, just to get that passport stamped. I am that shallow. It's just so fulfilling to be like, welcome to our country, Miss Cohn. I'm like,
we bought our Irish sweaters. That was one thing Colleen said, make sure you get your Irish sweater. And I bought mine. We were in a store and we bought it. And I told my husband, do you want one? Oh, no, I'm good. We walk out the door and he went, I do want one. We had to turn around and go back in and get him an Irish sweater, which was fantastic. But when I saw your photos, I'm like, I'm just going to be following her around. I'll just be right
So
behind
wherever
her everywhere
you
you
should have
go.
taken the same photo.
I should have
right behind
yes,
her.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely
Yes,
going to talk
yes.
about travel and so much more at the event. We have L'Oreal Vichy coming and Laura Geller makeup. And we have Woman-esque products and so many brands. A lot of them are women owned that are coming to sponsor and talk, not to mention the panelists.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the group that we have going. I really do.
It's going to be fun.
It's
We
going to be
can't
fun. And
wait.
this hotel's adorable.
We just want everyone to have a good time.
Right.
And I think
Well, they
you're
will.
kind of that wind beneath our wings to do it. You kept saying, girls do this. Girls do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, there's just no way if people listen to one episode of your podcast, let alone loyalists like myself, that you don't want a dose of that every few months in person, and I think what's been so beautiful about the podcast is bringing people together. And I think that next step is people need to know that we can see each other in person.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And this wonderful thing that evolved out of COVID where we can connect with each other online is wonderful, but I'm all for getting back in person. And I think these expos or however we want to call them, I think they're going to morph into so many other things that you guys haven't even thought of yet, because that's how remarkable I think you both are. And but I really think there is this movement to connect to each other in person and share information. And also, more importantly, is what we always talk about that we hope this event will do is just not only be inspiration, but aspirational. Go out there and create an expo of your own, of a gaggle of women. Walk up to someone who you've always wanted to connect with and say, T, let's do it. So I hope that's what this does. I think it's going to.
Thank you, Mindy.
Well,
I think so too. With your inspiration, I think it will. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today. We appreciate it. And we can't
anything for you
wait to
forever.
see you in Nashville in
Yes.
October. It's blinking. We talked about this so many months ago.
I cannot believe it, but I also can't because you guys have been working tirelessly. I know the footwork will pay off with these next expos, but I just know how ridiculous you've all worked for this. So it will be a success. There's no doubt in my mind.
Thank you so much.
Adore you. And we can't wait to see you in October.
I know. See you.
Me too.
It'll be so
Nashville
fun.
or bust.
That's right. That's right.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye,
Yes,
Mindy.
we will.
Bye.
Bye, babes.